but in the events industry, people would think or perceive that, oh, अगर बोलते जा रही है ना, तो क्या बोल रही है? अगर flow में बोल रही है ना, बहुत अच्छा बोल रही है. Because they're not even listening. Especially organizers, event managers, they're not even listening to you. They just see that flow में बोल रहा है तो सब अच्छा है. रुक गया बीच में तो गड़बड़ है. Because I have seen MCs, and without quoting them, honestly, who go and say the word auspicious 10,000 times in the beginning of their speech.
Yeah.
Welcome to a very auspicious evening, and because it's so auspicious, because you have all come, it's become so auspicious, and now we will indulge in an auspicious ceremony of lamp lighting, and it'll be so auspicious, like 5 times auspicious, right? So there's no content. For me, that's zero content. See, I've seen people in the show business industry. I'm always observing all kind of performers. For me, the photographer is also an artist. I have seen some young photographers who will just go to the washroom like every 2 minutes because they're nervous about even clicking pictures.
Photographers?
I have seen that. Like in my industry, I'm a very observant person. Because I meditate, I'm mostly in the present moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know techniques of how you can bring yourself into the present moment also.
Okay.
Right? So right before the show, to come into the present moment also, I've got techniques. I do those. I become alive in that moment. So I'm not thinking about anything else, what's happening at home. I have 4 dogs at home. Are they being looked after? Have they eaten? Whatever else. Like, I'm away from all that chaos also, right? And other than that, whatever's happening at the event, I try to be, I think it's very important for the anchor to also be a team with the organizers. So how does a show pan out? In a show, other than the anchor starting the show, there are many other elements. So if let's say, lighting of the lamp ceremony will happen, and the minister or the PM or anybody will be invited on stage to light the lamp. There will be 2 people, the ushers, who will go up on stage and bring those things, right? The candle, the matchstick.
They're called ushers.
They're called ushers in
Okay.
the hospitality business, in the show business.
Mm-hmm.
So they will come on stage and they'll bring those things. They're dressed in these beautiful saris. Two girls will come while I'm saying these things. Or if there's, let's say, a launch is happening, a book launch is happening. Again, those 2 kids will come bring those books on stage, and the reveal will happen. I make it a point that I go there and I train them also, because sometimes they also get nervous. They will go on stage and they will light. There was once I did the magazine's Congress in Bombay, and I did it with my friend Gunjan, who was working later. She was working with India Today Group as well. So she was the organizer for this particular event, the International Magazine's Congress in Bombay, and I was hosting. I was given the script. Obviously, if I had to act just as the MC, right, I would, or just as the public speaker, not MC, because I feel Master of Ceremonies is much more. So if you're just the public speaker, you just focus on your script. And so I just go on stage and say the things I have to say, and I'll be focused on that alone, right? But there was this girl, one of the ushers. She went on to the lamp lighting where the lamp was, and she lit the lamp herself.
Oh God.
Whereas what she was supposed to do was, she was supposed to give the candle, which was the candle that was lit by her. You're supposed to light the candle and then give it to the chief guest, right? She lit it herself. And I saw that and I went immediately and I pinched it. So you're supposed to have that presence of mind as a master of ceremonies to be able to do all of these things as well.
You're a macro manager.
You have to be. You have to be a multitasker. You have to know everything, whatever's happening. You have to be able to give directions to the events team or people who are going to be coming on stage, or the console. Now this music will play, the video will play. When I say that, and now we will take a look at the audio visual, I look at the console. I hope you're ready. That saves me a lot. There are times when, they give me the prompter to work with, the teleprompter. And you're standing there reading from the prompter, and suddenly the prompter can go bad, right? And you can't just stand there and say, oh, glitch in technology or whatever, or something. Even if you say something smart, that's not going to be taken in a very nice spirit.
Yeah.
Yes. So one is that I always carry backup cue cards. I always also carry my script in the phone. I was hosting a very prestigious event, 100 Years of Indian Cinema at the Siri Fort Auditorium. And I was carrying 2 gadgets, an iPad such as yours and my phone. And the iPad just died. It had battery, it had everything, but it just conked off. It's technology, right? It was completely its wish. So I took out my phone and I started reading from the phone then. At that point in time, in 2013, I think when the 100 Years of Indian Cinema event happened, that time iPads had just become like very, they just come in vogue.
Okay.
So everybody was using them. All my other co-MCs, they were all using them. That, wow, this is such a nice thing. We'll read from that. So, how competition
check.
is, everybody wants to do it. So I did it too. So it's so important to carry papers. And there are so many learnings from all these events. You end up learning so much that you take all your ammo, your ammunition, your papers, everything needs to be with you, I guess. So there are many things.
But deriving from that, if we go back, let's say, when you've done only, let's say, 5 or 10 events, because everything that you mentioned, that's something that comes with reps.
Yeah.
Like repetitions.
Repetition with reflection.
Yeah. So you have done so much volume
Yeah.
that these things can go wrong. That's why you're the MC, right?
Yes.
And for someone who's just doing basic public speaking, who's just trying to get on the stage, you've known me for a very long time.
Yes.
In this persona that I am right now, this is a fairly new thing. If you remember when we used to go to Kingdom of Dreams and everything, I was a very introverted kind of a guy. But now I'm at another roadblock where I'm in front of cameras.
Yeah.
And this situation is inherently very calming for you, very, very average for you, where you have 2 cameras pointed towards you. But even though this is my podcast and I have 2 of my own cameras that I bought with my own money pointed towards me, I am not as calm as you are.
Okay.
I'm quite jittery.
Okay.
So how can someone in, not necessarily in my position, but with the context that someone who's not a public figure, not good at public speaking yet, how would they go about it?
So see, like I said earlier as well, these things, you're not born with these things, right?
Yeah.
And you experience these events and you have your learnings, like I said. But I guess my confidence also comes from a very beautiful word you mentioned, competence, right? It is a very important word. Why? Because I think I have worked so hard in preparing. I sometimes over-prepare, even now, for every show. So I guess I've prepared so much in life. My preparation has been so much that I have calmed my nerves down. I have tricked my mind to trust me more than my self-doubt.
What does preparation look like?
Preparation looks like you stand in front of the mirror. Even to date, I try to mirror talk. Let's say 2 to 3 minutes of mirror talk is very important in public speaking. Just take a topic, just pick up anything on the table, maybe a glass of water, and start talking about it. So that's mirror talk. Then there's recording on a dictaphone. Take a dictaphone and record, let's say, endless things that you want to say about something, and then play it to yourself. You'll actually hear so many things wrong with your tone, tonality, your pace. You're probably rushing everything. And you will be able to point out this, I don't like what I hear, right? So even today when I record something and I want to play it back to myself, I feel that, I could have done better, right? That's also because I'm a perfectionist and I'm too critical of myself. But you don't have to be so critical of yourself. But it is important to point out where you probably added a filler word and how you can change that. Maybe you can change that filler word with a pause, because that's another beautiful technique, which people, again, very underrated. People don't talk about pauses. Pauses are so important. Silence creates such a lot of impact. So those are the things that you will learn from, let's say, mirror talk, recording yourself on a dictaphone, playing that to yourself. And of course, always say one line of gratitude aloud. That also works a lot in public speaking. That today I practiced so much and I did well. Thank you so much, or whatever. Thank yourself. Give a pat to yourself on the back. Like, it's very important to appreciate yourself also, because why I say this is because I'm overly critical of my work and others' work also in the same domain, right? So if I'm looking at other anchors, etc., I'm quick to point out to myself that these are the things that she needs to work on or he needs to work on, and I need to work on as well. Maybe I can be even better than what I am at my game. So you've got to be your own competition and work hard. And then there's a lot of other things in preparation to be a public speaker. One is, of course, building your vocabulary. How do you build your vocabulary? You've got to read a lot. You read lots of books. And what I would do is, since I was a dyslexic child, I was given this, gift by my dad's friend, who my father actually told him that she's going through this, she's battling this situation where she's unable to score in English and actually flunked English. So there was a big hue and cry made about that at home, and I felt very bad. Like, as a child, who's probably in just KG, pre-KG or whatever, how bad you feel that you flunked English and your mom is saying, "Arey, English mein kaun fail hota hai."
Exactly. And that's what I was going to say.
So from there to then, I got this friend. He was very empathetic. So he, on my birthday, he got this set of pocketbooks. Like, remember the Black Beauty, Great Expectations by Charles Dickens, and all those books were there, right? Robin Hood. And what I started was, and he told me also, he's very sweet to teach me. He told me that what you do is when you read this, every time you encounter a difficult word, just underline it, find the meaning, and then make a sentence with it. So now that was very cumbersome. So what I started doing was, let's say I would read one chapter, I'd underline 50 words, and then the next day I'd sit down and write those 50 words in my copy, make a sentence with every word. That's how I actually practiced and worked hard on my language, on English.
So you're saying public speaking is a level playing field?
Absolutely.
Because you came with, let's say, some really inherent disadvantages.
Yes, absolutely. It is a level playing field, yes.
What you said about pauses and filler words.
Yeah.
Elaborate more on that.
Okay.
How can you use those things and what you can replace
First of all,
filler
let's
words?
address why do people use filler words.
Yeah.
Right? Filler words are mostly used because people are more scared of pausing than of rambling. In India also, when I just became an MC, a lot of times there may be instances where, you fumble a little bit, right? You err a little bit on stage. It's okay. But the trick in public speaking or anchoring is that you should be able to carry forward. You should be able to smoothly transition from your error. But in the events industry, people would think or perceive that, oh, अगर बोलते जा रही है ना, तो क्या बोल रही है? अगर flow में बोल रही है ना, बहुत अच्छा बोल रही है. Because they're not even listening. Most of the audience, especially organizers, event managers, they're not even listening to you. They just see that flow में बोल रहा है तो सब अच्छा है. रुक गया बीच में तो गड़बड़ है.
So they want you to get from point A to point B as quickly as possible.
That, but it's just that because I have seen MCs, and without quoting them, honestly, who go and say the word auspicious 10,000 times in the beginning of their speech.
Yeah.
Welcome to a very auspicious evening, and because it's so auspicious, because you have all come, it's become so auspicious, and now we will indulge in an auspicious ceremony of lamp lighting, and it'll be so auspicious, like 5 times auspicious, right? So there's no content. For me, that's zero content. Like I said, I'm not only overly critical of who I am as an anchor, but I'm also very critical of my colleagues. So I will rate them in my head, and I'll be like, I don't say it everywhere, but I just get very angry, right? That you've got to work on your craft. It just sort of makes me very upset that you haven't worked and you're just using the same word. For me, using the same word in a sentence is also not happening. That's also a big
Like using a word twice in a single sentence.
Yes. That in itself, I try to, maybe use another synonym, because for me, it is when you're working on your script, you have to be very clear that, so that's why you need to build vocabulary. So coming back to filler words usually happen because you feel that you have to go on talking in a flow. Now, I said that sentence in a flow also just now, but there were pauses, you see, because you have to go on talking in a flow. I used pause very cleverly, right? So when you learn how to use the pause, you will get rid of your filler words, first of all. And the pause is very important because whenever the pause happens, the audience feels what you have said. So you give them a moment to feel also, no, what you're saying.
But more importantly, the vacuum. I feel like the vacuum.
The vacuum, no?
But whenever you stop talking and whenever you're taking that long pause, it creates impact, and that's what you said. But there's also a vacuum. Now I want to know what's coming next.
But what you want to know, and
I want to know.
You become curious. My audience is now my audience has become curious. Like for instance, when I was in school, and I went to boarding school for my class 11-12, which was a completely different school from my plus 2, right? Class 10th. So when I went from class 10 to boarding school, I wanted to be in the English debating team. That was something I desired to do. Like I wanted to be there, right? Because public speaking is something that I always aspired to do. And until class 10, I used to do a little bit here and there. But when I saw in the boarding school, I saw that there are so many people doing such amazing work in the debating team, and they're participating in those IPSCs, the Indian Public Schools conferences where all the schools come. I also wanted to participate, but they were not taking me in the English team because they already had established debaters.
Okay.
So then my father told me that, why don't you start doing Hindi debating? Now, my Hindi was also fairly good because I was from the Rajasthan board until the 10th. So I did Sanskrit also and I did Hindi also. When you're in Rajasthan board, you have to appear for Sanskrit as well as for Hindi, both,
Wow. Okay.
right? So my Hindi was fairly good. Sanskrit I was very good at. I had scored very highly in Sanskrit. I was very excited about Sanskrit for some reason. I had a very good tutor who would come home and train me.
That's the first time I've heard.
He would actually tell me, you can become a Sanskrit news reader.
Oh God.
So, it was
Thank
that
God
good.
you're not that.
Yeah, well.
The market is gone.
So, well, it's a very useful language, trust me. But anyway, I mean, all your mantras, all your chanting, which is everything comes from there. But anyway, so I then said, okay, fine, I'll do Hindi debating. So my father helped me with scripts. He wrote my scripts and everything, and he wrote a very good opener line for my Hindi, which was the school competition, not IPSC so far. They were trying to pick for IPSC from the school. So they opened a challenge and there was a competition.
It was a culling game.
Yeah, it was a culling game. So I wrote the script and I went on stage and I was just for a second I just paused and I said 36, 24, 36. And then I paused again. So I learnt pauses in school itself. My father trained me, right? Now 36, 24, 36. Why has she said it? That's like the figure of like the ideal figure, right? We were talking about beauty pageants. And I was I think probably against the motion and somebody was for the motion.
Okay.
Like 4 beauty pageants and I was against them.
Okay.
So I started like that. The opening lines were given, this 36, 24, 36 was given to me by my dad. 36, 24, 36 की सौंदर्य अगर आप पाना चाहते हैं तो उसके लिए आपको ये करना पड़ेगा. शायद आपको एक प्लास्टिक सर्जन के पास भी जाना पड़ेगा. All of that, So it suddenly catches your attention. So
It's a shock. It's a shock.
pause is very powerful. See, point is, I know if you're scared and then you pause but you invariably keep pausing, then it's going nowhere. But you have to know how to recover from that pause. There are so many times I've seen anchors, I know this craft so well now, where they will just forget. So they pause very cleverly and then they come out with, पर आपने अगर उनका व्यक्तित्व देखा होगा, they pause but then they come back. If the comeback is smooth and flowy, then that's it. You won the battle and you've also created impact. Now the audience is thinking, okay, she just paused to make it dramatic. That's what the audience is thinking.